morning, everybody. This is Steve. It is the 26th of September, 2025. I'm here at the upper bridge, and I can't ever remember seeing those pilings right there from the old bridge sticking that far out of the water. So what does that mean? The river is very, very low. The good news, it's gotten colder and our water temperatures have dropped considerably. This morning, about 9 o'clock, it's reading 55 degrees, which is considered optimal trout temperature. We definitely have seen the effects of colder water this week. The fishing has picked up considerably. Starting to see more and more bugs. Lots and lots and lots of crane flies spread throughout the river. And the last couple of days, people have had a lot of fun fishing crane flies. Really starting to see some unique and interesting patterns coming from the fly tying community, which is great. You know, it's just one of the probably the biggest part of growing part of the sport. You know, is the fly tying. People are just really getting into it, and a lot of creative thinkers and really coming up with some innovative, fun patterns to fish. So, a few things to talk about this morning. You can see how low the river is. This is the pipe for the gauging station that is right there. Doesn't mean that you can't float the river, just got to be real careful. You know, always keep your eyes open, you know what's coming ahead. There's a few spots in Reinhardt definitely that are nasty. Watch that spot underneath the bridge. We got a lot of pilings sticking up like this underneath the bridge that you got to be aware of. Navigate those successfully. And there's a couple other nasty spots that really are. I would recommend getting out and walking your boat through. Even last year, the river was in drought, and we were floating the river, lower. We're floating the river this year lower than what it was last year, and people were flipping their boat there. So just a heads up, if you're going into the lower portion of the farmlands, there are some spots there that it's good to, not chance it. You end up flipping your boat. The worst could happen, of course, but if you end up surviving it, you end up losing a lot of your gear or damaging your boat. It just takes a few seconds to get out and push your boat through dangerous spots. So the river will swallow you up in a second. So don't take chances. Other thing is our spring Chinook are moving to the spawning grounds and getting ready to spawn. So drift boaters, rafts, and wade fishermen, keep your eye out for that. Don't anchor over spawning beds. Don't walk over spawning beds. There's about a little over 4,000 spring Chinook in the river, so let them do their thing. It's really, really helping improve the fishery of the Yakima. Lots and lots of biomass, of course. Eggs, flesh, alevins, making healthier trout, bigger trout, and, producing more insect mass through the river. So give them lots of space for sure. The other thing that's happening this weekend is the organization Project Healing Waters, which is a non-profit veterans organization, is doing their single fly event on Saturday, and that's going to take place down in the canyon. So there'll be lots of folks participating in that, and give the veterans lots of space. They're out enjoying their day. They need as much help as we can possibly give them. So hopefully that event goes good for them. It looks like the weather is going to be very, very nice. Yesterday, really pretty extreme wind here. It's supposed to be a little breezy today, but the weekend's supposed to calm down and be nice. Perfect September weather for fishing. The other questions that I get asked a lot too is, you know, where to fish, especially from people floating the river. And it's really, I get a question like, where should I float and how long is it going to take me? Well, it's really kind of a hard question to answer because everybody kind of likes to fish differently. Like me, myself, you know, I like to really take my time, fish shorter stretches of the river. Keep in mind that, you know, with as low as the river is, the fish aren't everywhere. You know, you're going to find fish potted up, really specific water types. You know, with it now at 55 degrees, we're going to see fish starting to move around a little bit, you know, especially with lots of crane flies around. So with the river lower, it gives you a chance, at least in my opinion, you know, to fish the water more appropriately, you know, and cover areas of the river that are holding fish, rather than just passing by, you know, very quickly, floating long stretches. So again, it's really personal preference. Some people feel that, you know, by floating a longer distance of river, you know, they can show their fly to more fish and see more parts of the river. I just don't prefer that method. I prefer a shorter stretch and prefer to you know, get better drifts over certain spots in the river. So it really all depends. But with the river this low, you know, we're losing daylight too every day. It's starting to get darker earlier, so you got to take that into consideration. And as we move towards the month of October, you know, we'll start getting really good blueing olive hatches, you know, and those hatches happen late in the afternoon, so you don't really want to be caught, you know, happening to float out 3 or 4 miles and have pods of fish rising on blue wings, you know, and you're not having the ability to be able to stop and, you know, and do that type of fishing. I mean, we don't get that type of fishing. We don't get to match the hatch, you know, fish rising, you know, eating bugs off the surface. You have to float a great big long stretch of river and you don't have the time. It, you know, it impedes you by not being able to stop and fish over those. So just give that some thought. At least that's my recommendation. We're moving, this is the last week of September and moving into the month of October. So still lots and lots of crane flies around. And I think, you know, given our situation of where we were at with water temperatures and low flows in the month of September, that's kind of prolonged it. And we're seeing lots and lots of crane flies still lots and lots of stone flies around, and a few blue-wing olives. They're even popping right here this morning. They're starting to fly around. 55-degree water temperature. That is absolutely the direction that we need it to go, and it will continue in that mode. So yeah, we still got lots of fishing left to do here the month of October. That's about all I got to report for the week. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or Greg at the Fly Shop. We'll help you with whatever you need. Until then, you know, everybody have a great weekend, and hope you got some fall fishing planned.